It started the moment David Holay stepped into his family's forgotten home, nestled deep in the thick woods of North Carolina. The house had been abandoned for nearly 4 decades, swallowed by vines and darkness. But after his sudden layoff from work and a bitter breakup, David had nothing left except the old Holay estate, which had long been labeled cursed by the townsfolk of Elmrook. The air was thicker in those woods. The locals always whispered about it. "Don't go near the Holay house after sunset," they'd say. "Things whisper out there." And sometimes they whisper back. David never believed in that nonsense until he arrived. The first thing that struck him was how quiet it was. No birdsong, no rustling leaves, just silence so loud it made his ears ring. The house stood like a black tooth in the forest, tall and rotting. The front door half-hinged, its windows like empty eyes. Inside, everything smelled of mildew and wet wood. Dust coated the furniture like ash. But what unnerved him most was that nothing had been touched. Like someone left in a hurry but never came back. There were still plates on the dining table, a child's shoe at the stairs, and strange symbols carved into the walls. The first night was uneventful mostly. David unpacked in one of the cleaner rooms upstairs. He ignored the creaks, the odd groans of wood shifting, but around 3:11 a.m. he woke up. It wasn't a sound that woke him. It was the feeling that someone was watching him. He sat up. The room was still. The moonlight barely crept through the dirty window. Then he heard it, a whisper. At first, it was like the wind. But slowly it formed words. They weren't in English. They weren't even human. Then came footsteps. Slow, deliberate, from the hallway. He grabbed the flashlight and stepped out. Nothing. The hallway was empty, but the air felt colder, like something had just left. The next morning, he brushed it off. Maybe he was just tired. The house was creepy, sure, but nothing supernatural. Until he found the journal. It was buried in the attic inside a rusted tin box. The leather cover was cracked, and the name on it made his heart drop. Thomas Holay, his great-uncle, declared missing in 1971. The entries were bizarre. They whisper when the lights go out. I saw one of them crawl through the mirror. I think they're trying to take my name. The pact is broken. We were warned. They are coming. The house lives. It remembers blood. It drinks it. David kept reading, disturbed but fascinated. The last entry read, "To whoever finds this, do not speak your name in the dark." That night, he didn't sleep. Not because he wasn't tired, but because the whispering returned, and this time it knew his name. David. Soft, drawn out, almost teasing. He bolted from bed and ran downstairs, flashlight shaking, but every room was empty, until he turned toward the mirror in the hallway. His reflection was delayed. He moved. The reflection lagged, staring straight at him, and then it smiled. He shattered the mirror with a nearby candlestick and backed away in horror. The next morning, he called the town's records office, asking about the house. The old woman on the other end hesitated before saying, "That house, it took people. Over the years, people went in and never came out. It's cursed land. It remembers the Holays." That afternoon, David made up his mind to leave. But the forest wouldn't let him. No matter how far he drove, every path curved back to the house. His phone died. The car refused to start again. He was trapped. The house waited. Each night got worse. Doors slammed shut behind him. Windows broke on. The air inside got heavier. The shadows grew thicker, and sometimes they whispered in unison. He tried lighting candles, salt circles, even the chants he found in the journal. Nothing worked. One night, he ventured into the basement, something he swore he'd never do. There he found a sealed wooden door behind an old shelf, covered in more symbols. It pulsed like it had a heartbeat. He opened it. Inside was a spiral staircase leading into blackness. No light touched it. It was cold like death, but the whispers called him. "Come see, come see." He descended. The deeper he went, the more twisted the walls became, flesh-like, breathing. The staircase ended at a chamber built of stone. in the center of which stood a figure, tall, veiled in shadows. "Do you know why you're here, David?" it asked. Its voice was hundreds of voices speaking at once. "No," David whispered. "Because your blood owes a debt." The chamber pulsed. From the walls, dozens of faces emerged, twisted, screaming, melting back into the stone. "The Kai, Holloway's broke the pact, so we took them, one by one, but you opened the door." David turned to run, but the stairs were gone, just black stone, trapped. "What do you want from me?" he cried. "Your name." David fell to his knees. The journal flashed in his mind. "Do not speak your name in the dark." But the whispers surrounded him. "David Holloway, David Holloway, stop." Silence. Then a whisper. "Alone." Then, "Give us another." David remembered a story his grandfather told him as a child about spirits that fed on identity, that names had power. He stood and said, "Thomas Holloway." The room screamed. The shadows twisted violently. "You think a name not your own will save you?" And then laughter. The shadows closed in. When he woke up, he was lying in the living room. Sunlight streamed in. The forest looked normal again. His car started. His phone had signal. He didn't understand what had changed until he passed a mirror in the hallway. The reflection, it wasn't his. It had his face, but the eyes were wrong. Dead. He left the house and never returned. But days later, back in town, he saw a missing poster. "Have you seen this man? David Holloway, last seen entering the Holloway estate." He stared at it in disbelief, because the man in the picture was not him. That night, alone in his apartment, the whisper returned, but this time it came from inside him. "We have your name now." And the mirror no longer reflected anything at all.